Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to review about something really important that every one of us should know. That is the blast in Beirut, Lebanon. First, an explosion in Beirut's port, possibly from a fireworks warehouse, set a plum of smoke blowing over the capital's skyline early Tuesday evening. Then a much larger explosion from a building nearby shot a thunderstorm of orange and red smoke into the air, followed by a massive shock wave of whitish dust and debris that rose hundreds of feet and spread out of blocks. The seaside capital rocked like an earthquake. Cars tumbled upside down and bricks rained down from apartment buildings. Glass flew out of windows miles away and roofs collapsed. The wounded stumbled through debris choked streets to hospitals, only to be turned away in some cases because the hospitals already reeling from the coronavirus pandemic were overwhelmed. By the late evening, the health ministry said more than 70 people were dead and at least 3,000 wounded in the worst carnage to hit the city in more than a decade. For many of Lebanon's 5.2 million people, the images that recorded through social media recall the scenes of urban destruction from the long troubled country's decades of war. It was unclear that what caused the explosion, but Prime Minister Hassan Diab said an estimated of 2,750 tons of highly explosive ammonium nitrate, commonly used in fertilizers and bombs, had been stored in a depot at the port for 6 years. As head of the government, I will not relax until we find the responsible party for what happened, hold it accountable, and apply the most serious punishments against it, Mr. Diab said. Major Jen Abbas Ibrahim, the head of Lebanon's General Security Service, told the state-run new agency that highly explosive materials had been seized by the government years ago were stored near the blast site. Although the thought of an attack was in the front of everyone's mind, he warned against getting ahead of the investigation and speculating about a terrorist act. In a television statement, Mr. Diab hinted that neglect had led to the blast and said the government would those responsible to account. Facts on this dangerous depot which has existed since 2014 or the past 6 years will be announced, Mr. Diab said. Those responsible will pay a price for this catastrophe. Mr. Diab said that Wednesday would be a national day of mourning. The governor of Beirut, Marwan Aboud, speaking on television, called it national catastrophe, burst into tears. At a briefing in Washington, President Trump suggested that the explosion was a result of an attack. He said he consulted with military generals and that they seem to think it's an attack or bomb of some kind. However, a senior US official said everything I am seeing thus far points to be a tragic accident. The explosion was the latest in a string of events in recent months that have plunged Lebanon, a sectarian based democracy with a long history of civil strife, into simultaneous political and economic crisis. Since last fall, waves of protests calling for outskirts of the country political class for decades of mismanagement and corruption have shut down cities and towns across the country, and a severe financial crisis has eroded the value of Lebanese pound by 18%, plunging many Lebanese into poverty. More recently, the number of new coronavirus cases has begun to rise quickly, raising fears that a new government imposed lockdown could further damage the economy. Many of the country's hospitals were already on the verge of capacity. Lebanon's last major war was in 2006 between Israel and Hezbollah, the Iranian backed militant group and political party that remains committed to the destruction of the Jewish state in recent years. Israel has launched frequent airstrikes on Hezbollah targets in neighboring Syria, but has mostly avoided bombing in it. Lebanon, to avoid setting off a cycle of retaliation that could lead to a new war. Okay guys, now let us see what have other countries reacted about this blast. Trump says Beirut explosion seems to be a bomb of some kind. US President Donald Trump said it looks like a terrible attack and that US generals had told him that a powerful explosion appears to be have been caused by a bomb of some kind without offering evidence. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo tweeted that we are monitoring and stand ready to assist people of Lebanon as they recover from this horrible tragedy. Qatar promises to send field hospitals. In the region, Gulf nations were the first to react, with Qatar promising to send hospitals to support the medical response. Qatar's ruler Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani wished a speedy recovery for the injured, while the United Arab Emirates Vice President and ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, tweeted, "Our condolence to our beloved people in Lebanon." Kuwait said it would be also send emergency medical aid. Egypt expressed deep concern at the destruction, and Arab League chief Ahmad Abul Git offers condolence, stressing the importance of finding the truth about the explosion. Israel offers humanitarian aid, and usually neighboring Israel offers humanitarian aid to a country with which is still technically at war. Defense Minister Benny Gantz and Foreign Minister Gabi Asnek, on behalf of the State of Israel, have offered the Lebanese government via international intermediaries medical and humanitarian aid, as well as immediate emergency assistance. A statement read, Stay strong, Lebanon. Jordan's Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi said Yemen was ready to provide any help for Lebanon needed, when Iran said it was fully prepared to render assistance in any way necessary. Our thoughts and prayers are with the great resilient people of Lebanon. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif tweeted, "Stay strong, Lebanon." Syria's President Bashar al-Assad wrote to Lebanese President Michael Aoun that on behalf of the Syrian Arab people, we extend our sincere condolence to you and the Lebanese people. Outside the region, President Vladimir Putin said that Russia shares the grief of the Lebanese people. According to a Kremlin statement, I ask you to convey words of sympathy and support to the families and friends of victims, as well as wishes for speedy recovery to all affected. French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian said the country was ready to provide assistance according to the needs expressed by the Lebanese authorities. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson called the pictures and videos from Beirut shocking. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wrote on social media to say, "We think of all those who were injured in the tragic explosion, as well as who are trying to find a friend or a family member or who have lost loved ones. We are ready to help you." So, guys, we all should pray for the Lebanon people to recover soon and back fighting with this coronavirus pandemic. So, guys, that's all for today. Meet you all in the next video. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe to my channel.